In this video, we're going to be talking about some fasting practices. Fasting is the oldest dietary strategy in the world. It is profoundly different from any other dietary strategies. It is not the latest and greatest, but the tried and true. It is not something to do, but something not to do. This quote comes from The Complete Guide to Fasting, written by Dr. Jason Fung, who is probably one of the leading authorities on fasting in the world. If you want to know more about the health benefits of fasting, I highly recommend that you read his book. Okay, so let's look at some of the basic principles of fasting because we're going to be stepping into this realm in this module. Okay, and so we're going to start by just simply reducing the window of time that you consume calories throughout the day. It's very, very simple. We're going to start really slow, really easy, gentle, and not too much to worry about or think about. Just a simple practice of not eating 3 hours before bedtime. Okay, so the benefits of that is that you will have an opportunity, your metabolism will have an opportunity to burn off more glucose during the time in the evening when you're not eating. This will also give your digestion a chance to rest more. Okay. So the more you can rest your gut, the more time it's going to have where it doesn't have work to do to heal itself. It's kind of like shutting down the highway so that you can repair the road. It's really difficult to repair the road when there's a constant flow of traffic. Okay, so this is going to give your digestion a rest, a bit of a reprieve, and some time to not have to work so hard. All right, here's what happens when you fast. This is what happens in a typical carbohydrate-centric diet. Most people wake up in the morning and they consume carbohydrates. Okay, that's sort of what we've all been taught to do. When we eat carbohydrates, it causes a raise or a spike in the blood sugar. This triggers the release of insulin, which pushes the glucose from the bloodstream into the cell. Then what happens is the blood sugar starts to drop, but it doesn't stop at normal because we're not built like a machine or a car. So it drops down below the normal range. And that's when we feel a release of stress hormones, cortisol, epinephrine. We feel hungry, fatigued, maybe a little jittery, maybe a little sweaty, might feel your heart start to race a little bit. We get hangry, heard that term, get a little angry and hungry. Kids, this happens to children a lot. You'll notice they just kind of lose it when they get to this point where their blood sugar starts to drop. And this is when usually the mom says, okay, it's time to have a snack. Often you're not even aware of what's going on, but you just know that you don't feel good. This is when we start to feel hungry, get some cravings, and then we usually have another carbohydrate snack or meal, and then the blood sugar shoots back up again. So this is what I call the blood sugar roller coaster. So most people are sort of doing this all day long, up and down. And what I want you to be aware of is that there's a healthy zone in which you want to try to remain. Insulin is the main hormone associated with weight gain. So as long as insulin's in the picture, your body's literally blocked from burning fat. Okay, insulin tells your body to stop burning fat and to start storing fat. All right, the blood sugar spikes, insulin comes into the picture, then it starts to drop, then your stress hormones get kicked on. Okay, this leaves a lot of people feeling anxious, and this roller coaster effect really weakens the metabolism over time. What we want to do is try to keep the blood sugar in this healthy adrenal zone, because then your stress hormones aren't getting kicked on every time you eat carbohydrates. So your insulin, you eat carbohydrates, insulin gets kicked on, then your blood sugar crashes, and this is just a vicious cycle all day for most people, where you're having your blood sugar up and down, and it never really gets to balance itself out in this healthy adrenal zone. As long as insulin is present, your body is not able to access your body fat. So it's kind of like this gasoline truck running out of gas on the side of the road. Okay, it's a bit ironic. But the fact is that the engine up front that's driving the truck doesn't have access to the fuel that it's carrying. So there might be thousands of gallons of fuel in the back of the truck, but the motor does not have access to that fuel. So it runs out of gas. This is kind of what happens when you have a carbohydrate centric diet, because your body never has a chance to burn off the glucose in your blood to actually shift over to fat burning mode. Okay. So you might be carrying around a lot of extra fuel, a lot of extra energy in the form of body fat. That's your extra fat storage. That's your energy storage. That's the storehouse for extra energy that your body can't burn off. So it gets stored as fat. That's like this gasoline truck. So body fat is like the gasoline or the fuel in the back of this truck. When you reduce your carbohydrate intake, your body then has access to that extra fuel. Okay, so that's what we're going to try to trigger with doing some fasting. The best of all medicines is rest and fasting. Benjamin Franklin, all the way in the 1700s, this was well-known information. What you need to know about the macronutrients in your diet is that there are 3 of them. We talked a lot about these, and you're going to be learning a lot more about these later. Basically, we're talking about carbohydrates, fat, and protein. And I want you to look specifically at how these nutrients, these macronutrients, we call them, affect your blood sugar. Okay. So carbohydrate, as you can see at the top, is the one that has the most dramatic impact on your blood sugar. You can see that very steep spike in the blood sugar there next to the carbohydrate. Then there's protein, which has much less of an impact on your blood sugar than carbohydrate. It still has some impact on your blood sugar, especially if you over consume protein. It will also trigger insulin and block fat metabolism. And then notice the fat in your diet. So there's only 3 macronutrients: carbohydrates, fats, and proteins that we're going to be talking about in this course. And I want you to pay particular attention to the impact that fat has on your blood sugar. Okay. Fat has virtually 0 impact on your blood sugar. So not only does it help to regulate your hormones, because it's not constantly triggering the stress hormones to be activated in that blood sugar drop or dip, it's the one nutrient that you can rely on to maintain a healthy blood sugar level. Okay. Because if you eat carbohydrates, you're going to get a sugar spike. It's just the way that we're wired. If you eat protein, you won't get as dramatic of a spike, but you will notice a change in your blood sugar if you're monitoring it. Okay. So fat becomes your friend when it comes to weight loss, because it turns off insulin. That's what tells your body to stop storing fat and start burning fat.